Call the budget meeting to order. There's no citizens communication, no one signed up. You need this or?
You already got it.
Ready to approve the minutes from 9/3/2024. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Anybody got any corrections or changes? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes. There's just four. Who's missing?
Mary.
Oh, Mary, that's right. 4-0. Next, we have the budget transfer. Would you like to?
Motion.
That's right, you're right.
Motion to approve.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. So this is a resolution, or a transfer request to move $246,792.60 from the Grassland renovation project and transfer those funds into the building improvements for the Paytonsville project. Connor Scott is here, our public safety director is here if you need additional information.
Does anyone want to ask him any additional?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair, if you don't mind. Connor, you need to go, everybody who speaks tonight needs to go to the podium because our speaker in the ceiling is on, and that's the only place you can hear it. Are we deleting all the funds for Grassland, or is there still money there for the project that we've got to do for Grassland in the future?
We still have money for the Grassland project. As it was originally designed, that project, Station 22 on Sneed Road, was going to be, we're adding space to add garage bay for a tanker so we can increase our water capacity out there. And it was originally scoped as a full architectural design, construction project. We have since then determined that we can do it much cheaper by buying essentially a prefabricated garage and laying our own concrete pad. So we can save on that project substantially. So the project's still gonna move forward in Grassland. We're just going to reallocate some of the unneeded funds towards this project, Station 28 in Paytonsville, which just because of rising construction costs has exceeded what we had in our budget initially. So both projects will still happen.
Thank you.
Question. So both projects, moving to the prefab garage or the concrete slab, all of that still meets the requirements that we have for safety and those types of things, and it doesn't remove any positives for that project.
That's correct. Yeah, we'll still meet all the standards. Yep.
A lot of constituents over that way.
Any more questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Ready for the resolutions. Resolution number 10, 2410, resolution of the governing body of Williamson County, Tennessee, authorizing the issuance, sale, and payment of interest-bearing 2024-25 general purpose school fund tax anticipation notes not to exceed $13 million.
Move to approve.
Second.
Phoebe, if you want to explain.
Yes, thank you. So this is a tax anticipation note. We have done this in the past. This is not a definite that we will need these funds, but we are watching the cash flow of the general purpose school funds. As you all know, revenues from property taxes do not really start coming in until around December, January. Therefore, it makes cash flow a little tight for those first few months to make sure that we can meet operating expenses, and which of course a big part of that is salaries and wages. So the first step is to get the approval of the commission. Second is then we will then have to go to the comptroller's office and request that they also approve the use of these funds. The appropriation or the approval from the comptroller's office is good for about 6 months. That's why we go ahead and do it now, so that if in the case arises and we say general purpose school needs it and November 1, then we can go ahead and move forward if we've already started this process. This is kind of a backstop. It's not saying again that we for sure are going to do this. We have two options. We can do this and borrow funds from an outside third party, which we have done. We haven't done that in a few years, but we could do that, and there would be obviously an associated interest rate along with that. What we are anticipating and are intending, if we need these monies, is to borrow an internal loan and take this money from the general fund. So we do have sufficient funds in our fund balance that we could cover this. We could do an interfund loan. The other requirement of a tax anticipation note is that these funds have to be paid back by June 30. So this is truly just a loan that we would give the general purpose school fund to meet their operating expenses. Once the revenues come in from property taxes, then they would turn around and then repay us.
When's the last time you actually had to borrow?
I think 21, 22 was, I think, 14 million. We did around 17 and 18 and 18 forward or back. We did one just about every year. We haven't had to do one in the last couple of years. So we have done a little bit of both. We've had, we've done internal loans within some of our funds to the schools, and then we have had a third party. We do have sufficient fund balance though this time that we could absorb that loan if we needed to for a few months.
Y'all got any questions?
I think she answered several of the ones that I had.
Same.
Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution 10-2411, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute a 2024-25 grant agreement with the State of Tennessee Department of Health for the provision of dental services at the Williamson County Health Department in an amount not to exceed $175,800.
Move to approve.
Second.
Phoebe, you want to answer this?
Yes, this is our health department grant. This is just to sign the contract. This is our yearly annual grant. The funds are already in our operating budget. This is just now this year's grant contract is up and ready to be signed.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution 10-2412, resolution appropriating and amending the 2024-25 library budget by $5,000. Revenues to come from donations and memorials.
Move to approve.
Second.
These are donations that we have received in the library. These are just going to be allocated so that they can start spending those funds.
Because this came from Atmos Energy or Playground. Anybody got any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 4-0.
Madam Chairman, it's a playroom, not playground.
All playroom, sorry about that.
I don't have a playground in the library.
Okay. Resolution 10-2413, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, appropriating and amending the 2024-25 community development budget by $19,602 revenue to come from grant funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mike, would you like to talk about this one?
I can, yeah. So first of all, this does not require a county match. The grant would be to identify potential brownfield sites along the Nolensville Road and Horton Highway corridor. And then once that study has been done, that would make possible some remediation grants in the future.
Do y'all have any questions? Y'all ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution 10-2414, resolution appropriating and amending the 2024-25 Parks and Capital Improvement Program by $40,325 revenues to come from donations, recreation privilege tax fund.
Move to approve.
Second. Madam Chairman, Figgy may want to correct a number either on this one or the next one, and Gordon can kind of tell you about it.
So the line item, the first line item there under revenues for recreation privilege tax funds, the line item that's referring to 351501 actually needs to be changed to 351400. It was just a transposition type of that account.
So can we get this corrected before it goes out?
I've already emailed the clerk, yes, sir.
It's just for our benefit
Okay.
and be corrected.
Don't have to do an amendment.
Lord, explain what it's for.
Yes, thank you. Back during the summer, the town of Nolensville donated $120,000 for the construction of a new ball field. This ball field is located at the existing park where the rec center is, there on Sunset Road and Nolensville Road. The bids came back for that at $160,325. So it was well over the $120,000 that they had allocated for it. Since we are building this to benefit the Nolensville Youth Rec Association, I felt it was appropriate to ask them to make a contribution towards this. And you can see that they did just do that. They, donated as much as they felt like they could, which was $15,535, which left a balance of $24,790. And we're asking you to approve us taking that out of privilege tax.
Does anybody have any questions?
So I've got 120,000 from Nolensville, town of Nolensville, just shy of 25 from the county, and then a little over 15 from the association.
That's correct.
So the county's paying basically 25,000 to help Nolensville out on these fields, right?
Yes, we're doing that. The growth out there has just been incredible. We just had to bring another field online. And this is for the smaller kids. Cost $160,000 to build a 120-foot field.
Kind of different from where they used to build them, isn't it? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution 10-2415, resolution appropriating and amending the 2024-25 Parks and Rec budget by $44,500, revenues to come from recreation privilege tax funds.
Move to approve.
Did you want to talk about this one too, Gordon?
Yes, if you don't mind, I'd like to offer up some praise here. So first of all, when you approved back early in the summer, or spring of this 24, when when 50 Forward left College Grove, we took that facility over, started running the program out there in College Grove for the seniors. And they had a van, and when 50 Forward left, they took the van with them, which left them without transportation. And transportation for the seniors to get them on these field trips is a big thing. So we knew immediately we needed to try to, get some wheels out there for them. And as a result, Commissioner Judy Herbert really stepped up. She went out and asked the former JL Clay board that still had some money from their trying to dissolve those accounts to support seniors in the county. She asked them if they had any money left and see if they could help the seniors out in College Grove. And they did step up. So the cost of a van was going to be approximately $115,000. JL Clay provided $61,266 to go towards that van. 50 Forward also was holding money that had accumulated over a number of years that was collected through the College Grove seniors themselves. That amount came to $24,443. So the amount that we needed to add to that total in order to purchase this van is $44,500. And I'm asking you to allow us to take that out of privilege tax.
And I will have to say, those trips are the highlight of the week for all those senior citizens.
Very important to them.
Very, very important. Anybody got any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution 10-2416, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to sign a contract with the State of Tennessee Administrative Office of the Courts on behalf of the Juvenile Services and amending the 2024-25 Juvenile Services budget by $2,000, revenues to come from state grant funds.
Move to approve.
Madam Chairman, Judge Guffey's not able to be with us, but you can read it's a state contract to help with access and visitation, under the access and visitation grant to help in her area.
Anybody have any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution 10-2417, resolution authorizing Williamson County Mayor to enter into a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security and appropriating and amending the 2024-25 Sheriff's Office budget by $40,000, revenues to come from grant funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sheriff?
Good afternoon. This is funds from the Highway Safety Office that allows us to do traffic enforcement activities, partially for supplies and partially for overtime.
Has anybody got any questions? Ready to vote? You might as well stay up there, we got some more. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution 10-2418, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security and amending the 2024-25 Sheriff's Office budget by $4,425,000, revenues to come from grant funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
This is the SRO grant, the state reimbursement program that allows up to $75,000 per deputy, up to 59 schools. 59 schools.
And the difference, Madam Chairman, if I can interject, the difference between 52 in the county, there's a few over in special school districts that we would also pay for.
That's correct.
Any questions?
So we got the full up to 59, we got the full 59 and the 75.
Does that pay it completely, or does the county still have to pay some?
Well, some of the deputies make more than that, so it depends on what their salary is, but it pays up to $75,000. So depending on the tenure of the employee, then, it should equal about out, but I would say that it probably takes a little more on our part.
With benefits.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, the other thing, if I might add, hitchhiking off the sheriff's, as all of you know, every SRO has to have a vehicle.
That's correct.
Every SRO has to have the weaponry, the guards and the phones and all that. For years, we've known the 75 was sufficient to cover everyone, but it is taken out of all the county general funds to pay for all of the children in our schools, all 59 schools. So it's a great contract. The $4 million plus almost $4.5 million is a huge step.
Yes.
And I think just a thought there is we have had SROs in schools for a really long time. And so this is for the state to be reimbursing us. And this is the first time. Yeah, to be getting something.
Before the county had to pay.
We just paid it, right?
Any more questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution, I think that's all of yours.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Resolution 10-2419, resolution appropriating and amending the 2024-25 county clerk's budget by $50,000 for equipment purchases, revenues to come from filing fees. This is basically fees for the county clerk's office, and they're using for equipment. Anybody got any questions?
Oh, motion to move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions?
I just wondered,
What?
the equipment.
Madam
Certain-
Chairman, if I may, I believe the clerk reported that it would be for the automated chip credit card use. Did you remember that?
Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution 10-2420, resolution accepting donation of equipment on behalf of Williamson County Fire Rescue.
Move to approve.
Second. Madam Chairman, this is pretty self-explanatory coming from the fire rescue. The question that oftentimes is asked by new county commissioners, well, why are we doing this? This doesn't have a value. And so I'll let legal counsel Jeff answer that. Why do we have to come before the budget committee? Because it does have some books in it that you all should always know about.
Right, when you shift the title to this property, then you have maintenance, insurance, and those kind of costs, which will go into your budget. So it does have a budgetary impact. That's why it comes to this committee.
Anybody got any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution number 10-2421, resolution to repeal the 2021 International Energy Code and adopt the 2018 International Energy Conservation Code with the 2009 tables in accordance with Rule 0780-02-23-02.
102.
Excuse me, we got one.
Mike can explain it after you get it up on the floor, Madam Chairman.
Move to approve.
Okay, so back in 2001, the county commission adopted a series of codes, including the 2021 International Energy Code. After that, the state passed Public Chapter 312, which essentially says that local jurisdictions can't be more restrictive than the current adopted state energy code language. And since the state is using the 2018 International Energy Code, the Tennessee Department of Commerce and Insurance has dictated that we must adopt the 2018 code. So we're kind of going backwards, but we're doing that in order to comply.
So we're operating illegally now, basically, for the supremacy clause type of the state, right? I guess.
They've asked us to go back to the 2018.
All right, we have a choice. Not really.
Any questions anymore? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution 10-2422, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute a license agreement with the City of Franklin for regularly scheduled government meetings.
Move to approve.
Mayor?
I'm gonna shift this to Jeff so he can explain the difference between a license agreement and a rent. And as you know, while he's getting his thoughts together, the city is closing down their city hall. They're moving their general operations to a location for their everyday functions that they have. They have reached out to us. I have tentative agreed, subject to your all's approval, they can use our county commission meeting room when we are not. Diane has met with Vernon Girth and some others about the planning commission, school board meetings, and our meetings so that they're all coordinated. I'll let Jeff explain the difference between a licensure and some other thing.
Yeah, a license is just a contract for permission to use. It doesn't run with the land or create any property rights in the use of the property. So when you talk about a license, it's just a permission to use it according to the terms of whatever is written in the agreement. Much easier to get out of, terminate, et cetera. It's also less restrictive on both parties.
And at the end of the day, somebody may ask, what are they gonna pay us for? The answer is nothing. They're part of our county. They pay their property taxes and no need charging them a fee, which they just pass on to the city residents. So it's a goodwill gesture and they have helped us out on other occasions too.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Passes 4-0. Resolution 10-2429, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County.
Move to approve.
Second.
Do you want to talk on this? Oh, sure.
This is grant funds, shared funds to go toward the internet crimes against children.
Has anybody got any questions?
I didn't see an amount in there. It just asked.
Commissioner, early on, the commission approved that. I don't remember the amount.
15,000.
This is wrapping up the paperwork, Commissioner. The money was approved earlier.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 4-0. I think we have a late file resolution. I don't have a number yet.
We'll need to get you to sign it tonight. We'll file it tomorrow.
Okay. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Opioid Abatement Council on behalf of the DUI Recovery Court and appropriating and amending the 24-25 DUI Recovery Court budget by $146,443. Revenues to come from state grant funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Madam Chairman, if I could get Phoebe to explain the mechanics of this, and late this afternoon, they brought it in and wanted us to sign it today. Of course, we can't sign it without your approval.
So we were awarded additional funds. The DUI court was awarded part of the opioid money from the state. We were only notified late this afternoon that the contract has gone through. They are not willing or not able to wait for a signature until November. It's done as the mayor said, today preferably, but we told them we need an extension at least through next week. So that's why this is coming to you, so that we can follow proper procedure and have your approval to allow the mayor to enter into this contract so that we can move forward with the acceptance of the grant.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 4-0. I think that's all the resolutions, but I think the mayor would like to talk to something about other business.
Yes, ma'am. On your desk, you have a letter from me going out tomorrow to all of the counties.
Excuse me. You have the letter to pass out.
I do. You got yours. I only have one eye.
I have a letter for you to pass out.
As Diane is passing this out, it was brought to my attention after the last county commission meeting. Resolution 92440 and 92441, which are both resolutions that were deferred until the November county commission meeting. Many of you remember the night. It was a long, glorious night, but that particular resolution, those two resolutions have really caused us to look at how we're going to get all of this done if we wait until November. So I would like Jeff to explain the proceedings to have in order to look at this in October. And then you can see on the last page of the letter that's going out to all the county commission, the funds that were intended for the schools to be used, as well as us, back in May. Jeff?
Now, the procedure for bringing this up, as you remember, it was deferred to a specific date, the November meeting, because you can't have an undefined deferral. There's no such thing. That becomes a motion to table. So they deferred it until November. There is a way for the commission at the next meeting to reconsider that deferral. It's a motion to reconsider. It has to be made by a member of the prevailing party, has to be seconded by a member of the prevailing party, has to pass by majority vote. All that does is put the resolutions back on the floor, and then they would be discussed and you could vote up or down on the resolutions themselves. So you have a motion to reconsider, which only brings it back for deliberation, and then you would deliberate on the resolutions, vote up or down on that, if the motion for resolution or reconsideration passed.
So with that, Madam Chairman, I'd like Phoebe to explain kind of the box we're being put in. We'll do what the commissioners want, but it does put us in a box, in a timely box, that it may not come out the way that it should come out, and what it could do to our AAA bond rating.
So resolution Two resolutions were passed in May, Resolution 524-3 and 524-4.
And they're on the back sheet of your sheets you've got before you.
And both of those were school intent to funds. Upon approval of those intent to funds, the school went out, obviously, moving forward with those projects in which they had received approval from the commission and started contracting, awarding bids and such. As a result, approximately $12.5 million of those projects have been encumbered with outstanding purchase orders and signed contracts. The issue is we're looking at approximately $8 million to become due by the end of December, somewhere in the month of December. So that is, obviously, if these funds are not borrowed and we do not have that additional cash flow, as we heard earlier, we're already, the possibility of cash flow being a little tight, we will not have the $8 million in order to pay those invoices as they come due in December. So it is a timing of whether or not we are able to get those monies in and the bond monies back in time for us to move forward with those projects. Obviously, the implication of that is if the bill comes due and we don't have the funds to pay for it, we all know what's that happen. I mean, I hate to use the word default, but that is basically what happens if we do not have the money. So with that, and looking at about $8 million that we are needing in the next couple of months, outside of just normal operations, we are concerned that if these are not approved until November, it is going to make it very difficult in order for the process of going out to market, as that is not something that's done within a day or two, because we will have to go out, obviously get another bond rating. It takes time. It takes another month before we could go to market to get those funds in. And in the meantime, the other side of that is if it's not approved at all in November, again, we are going to be short in December to be able to pay these funds. Obviously, you go to market, not being able to say that I have approval of the county commission in order to fund these projects is going to be a hit against our rating, as one of the biggest components of that rating is not only the ability to pay, but the willingness to pay. And at this point, I would not be able to show the willingness to pay, nor the fact that if something comes up and I can't pay those invoices for one reason or the other, and I say we, the county, for the general purpose school, do not want to default on a letter for the bond rating.
So Jeff, if you don't mind, for the clarification of some of that, for the viewing audience, what an intent to fund really does and what triggers that, and then the resolution.
Yeah, the intent to fund is a resolution passed by the county commission saying that they intend to fund the project that is named in the amount that they have listed. So the intent to fund includes both elements, the project and the amount that you're going to fund. It leaves open how you're going to fund that. You can fund it by tax increases, paying cash, or by bonds. We then aggregate, on most years, we aggregate the intent to fund for large capital projects into a bond issue, usually in November, so we can pay them. In this case, with the amount that we have, Phoebe doesn't have the ability to pay it in cash, and so you either need a bond issue or you'll have to work on other alternatives to do that. But the intent to fund allows the school district to go out with RFPs and to contract for services on those projects. And the reason, again, that we hold them, you may pass the intent to fund in April, knowing that you're not going to do the bond issue until November because you're going to have several intent to funds during the year. So you don't do individual bond issues for each one. You aggregate those into a bigger bond issue that we normally do in November. We have occasionally done a spring issue as well, but that's very rare. Normally it's an annual issue in November, aggregating all those numbers.
So I think it is important to understand the schools have done nothing wrong. They've done the same practice with the intent. The commission has told them yes. And so now they're faced with this particular situation. How are you going to pay for it? If this bond, if these resolutions are delayed until November, it puts us in a very timely, hard, awkward position. Number two, if it should fail, which commission has that right, then immediately we've got some other issues the school's gonna have to deal with in order to make that $12.5 million commitment that they've made. Likewise, on the county side, although we haven't signed any paperwork, that would put in jeopardy 23 sheriff's vehicles, 5 ambulances, 3 fire trucks, fire truck ladder, library branch, Bethesda Rec Center. You can see all of those projects will immediately stop. And I will enforce them if that's what you all tell me to do. But this whole mechanism is we need to know from a timely standpoint. And so I'm gonna need 2 people from the prevailing side to get it back on the floor in October. If that doesn't happen, we'll wait around to November, but it'll be very difficult for us to get it out of the hearing.
This would happen during old business on the agenda. There's not an agenda item for reconsideration.
So the motion would be to reconsider,
Has to come from the prevailing side.
the motion to reconsider.
It has to be for someone who voted to defer,
Mhm,
which you did not.
right.
This would basically
Can we get a
destroy
list of-
our bond rating. I mean, we would.
If you had to default because you did not have the ability to pay, or the school district did not have the ability to pay on a contract, it would definitely affect your bond rating.
Ability or willingness.
And your bond rating goes down, your interest rate goes up on your subsequent issues, so it'll cost you money directly.
So you're gonna wanna know who was on the prevailing side.
That was gonna be my next question. I was gonna ask for a list of those that,
Can we send those out in an email?
Certainly, and I can either, so your thought process, and I'm not speaking in here, was to send this out tomorrow in the commission packet, and we can send the votes along with that.
I have a list, but if you want to see it, I'll be glad to let you see it. But right now, it failed 13 to 11, I believe. So.
The motion to defer passed.
Pass.
So the prevailing side would be a yes vote on the motion to defer.
Okay.
Anybody got any questions about that?
There's no vote taken here tonight.
there were 13, you said? 13.
Any other business? Get a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion,